The footage began without warning, no intro, no sound bed, no narration. Just raw, unfiltered terror from the final minutes of Helix 4. Aiden Trace stood alone in the dark briefing chamber, as the holoscreens flickered to life around him. Columns of translucent light projected scenes from the massacre at full scale. A playground reduced to molten metal. A plaza littered with fragments of shattered sculptures. A crowd sprinting toward a shelter that never opened in time. The images drifted through the air, casting pale reflections across Aiden's face. He didn't blink. A woman's voice broke through the static. "If anyone can hear, please, my son, he's..." Her transmission dissolved into a roaring surge of plasma fire. The recording ended with a smear of red and a burst of broken data. The chamber fell silent. Aiden exhaled slowly, forcing his fists to unclench. He had watched combat footage many times in his career, but this was different. Helix 4 wasn't a military outpost. It was a cultural exchange colony, a place where artists outnumbered soldiers. Families went there to trade stories, not weapons. Children learned alien languages in bright classrooms filled with murals. And the Keth Dominion had erased all of it in under 9 minutes. A soft chime echoed from the chamber door. Aiden didn't look back. "Enter." The hinges slid open. Counselor Mira Hall moved beside him, her posture rigid, her jaw locked in place. She wore the charcoal black insignia of the Earth Council, but even her authority seemed small under the glow of the massacre's recordings. "You've seen enough," Mira said. "No," Aiden replied. "I've seen exactly what I needed." She studied him carefully. "Humanity looks to you right now. Choose your words carefully when we enter that chamber." "I intend to." He followed her out, leaving the cold glow of Helix 4's final moments behind. The corridor outside hummed with quiet activity. Advisors whispering over tablets, guards monitoring incoming reports, analysts rushing between stations with tense urgency. The entire Global Council building felt suspended in a single breath, as though everyone feared the next second would break whatever remained of humanity's composure. Inside the primary chamber, the council waited around a circular table of polished steel. Screens embedded along the walls displayed casualty numbers and sinking red digits. Aiden felt them like punches. 82,463 dead. 0 survivors. Counselor re-motioned to him. "Commander Trace, present your assessment." Aiden stepped forward. Every eye fixed on him. "The Keth Dominion did not strike by accident," he began. "This was a coordinated extermination. They jammed all outbound communications, disabled emergency shields, and targeted evacuation routes. They wanted no witnesses." Murmurs broke out at the table. Ree rubbed his temples. "We maintained diplomatic relations for decades. Why would they attack a cultural colony?" "That's the wrong question," Aiden said, voice steady. "The right question is, what convinced them we wouldn't fight back?" Mira shot him a warning look. But Aiden pressed on. "For years we tried to integrate into a galaxy older and wiser than us. We believed restraint signaled maturity. The Keth saw it as surrender. They waited for an opportunity to prove it." Counselor Vale leaned forward. "Are you suggesting we abandon diplomacy?" "I'm suggesting we stop mistaking passivity for peace." The chamber quieted. Counselors exchanged glances, some fearful, some furious, some grimly resolved. Aiden could almost hear the shape of history shifting, inch by inch. Vale tapped a control panel. A new hologram rose from the center of the table, Helix 4 orbit, displayed in rotating blue lines. Strategic data pulsed across its surface. "Your recommendation, Commander?" Aiden studied the hologram. The ring of debris around the colony glimmered faintly, fragments of transports, museum shuttles, agricultural drones. A graveyard orbiting the ruins of a dream. "We activate Vanguard Protocol," he said. The words hung heavy in the air. It had been 2 centuries since humanity last invoked it. Vanguard Protocol was not a mobilization plan. It was a declaration that Earth would no longer remain a quiet observer in galactic affairs. It meant preparing fleets, training soldiers, fortifying borders, and shifting the entire species' posture from peacekeeping to survival. Ree shook his head. Protocol Vanguard risks full-scale war. So does inaction, Aiden replied. Mara cleared her throat. Commander Trace, before we escalate, we need evidence. Something beyond. Aiden pulled a small data shard from his pocket and placed it on the table. Recovered from Helix 4's central communications tower. The shard activated, projecting a string of Keth military commands. The symbols were blocky and sharp, arranged in the harsh structure of Keth tactical language. Red text highlighted one line. Counselor Vale translated quietly. Directive, ensure no survivors. A chill swept through the room. Aiden continued. This wasn't rogue soldiers. This was authorized. Calculated. Executed without hesitation. Mara looked at him sharply. If the Dominion intended to start a war, why strike a cultural colony? To break us, Aiden said. Not militarily, psychologically. They targeted what made us believe we belonged in the wider galaxy. They wanted to remind humanity of its place. Ree stood eyes cold. And your stance? Aiden met his gaze evenly. We show them they miscalculated. The chamber burst into layered arguments, shouts, protests, warnings about treaties, pleas for restraint. Aiden stayed silent, letting the storm rage. Humanity needed to confront its fear before it could confront its enemy. Minutes passed before the voices quieted. Ree sighed heavily. We will issue a formal statement to the Galactic Concord within the hour. They will demand an inquiry. A committee won't stop the Dominion, Aiden said. Preparation will. Mara stepped beside him. If we activate Vanguard, Commander, you will lead it. Do you accept that responsibility? Aiden didn't hesitate. I do. Ree nodded reluctantly. Then Earth will prepare. Quietly for now. As the council dispersed, Aiden remained still, staring at the hologram of Helix 4's orbit. The rotating fragments caught the light like drifting embers, remnants of a colony that once symbolized humanity's optimism. Mira approached softly. Aiden, don't let anger guide you. He turned toward her. Anger isn't guiding me. Memory is. She searched his expression, then gave a silent nod and left. Alone in the chamber, Aiden reached out and touched the holographic ruins. For the first time since watching the footage, he allowed a quiet ache to rise in his chest. The people of Helix 4 hadn't died for nothing. Their silence would speak through every decision he made from this moment forward. He drew a steady breath. No more martyrs, he whispered. No more excuses. Then he turned toward the door, ready to lead the fight humanity had tried so hard to avoid, until the galaxy forced its hand. The shuttle pierced the atmosphere of Helix 4 without resistance. No air traffic beacons responded. No orbital mesh greeted incoming craft. The colony that once shimmered with azure skylines and silver towers had become a silent grave floating above a scorched landscape. Aiden stood behind the pilot, staring through the forward viewport as the ruins came into view. Smoke rose from fissured streets. Entire districts had collapsed into tangled wreckage. The cultural district, once filled with gardens and galleries, was unrecognizable, buried under pulverized stone and melted steel. The shuttle touched down near the central plaza, its landing gear sinking slightly into ash. When the hatch opened, a gust of burnt air swept inside, carrying the faint scent of char and dissolved plastics. Aiden descended the ramp with a team of 6 investigators behind him, each equipped with scanners, respirators, and forensic tools. Spread out, Aiden ordered. Document everything. No assumptions. The plaza's fountain stood at the center, its marble basin split in half by a direct plasma strike. Aiden walked toward it, boots crunching softly over fine dust that coated the ground like gray snow. He paused by a half-melted sculpture, an abstract piece once shaped like entwined hands. Now it resembled 2 figures locked in a final embrace before being frozen mid-disintegration. Lieutenant Marachin approached from the northern walkway. Commander, we located several collapsed shelters. No signs of defensive weaponry. Civilians only. Aiden nodded grimly. Any survivors? None. She hesitated. Bodies were vaporized. Upstairs levels completely gone. He closed his eyes briefly. Log coordinates. Move to the next sector. Mara saluted and hurried off. Aiden continued deeper into the plaza until he reached the central communications tower, now a jagged stump surrounded by shattered circuitry. Its once sleek surface bore gashes from direct strikes. He knelt beside the rubble and brushed away a thin layer of dust. Beneath it, a faint glow pulsed from a shard of intact hardware. So this was where the encoded Keth commands originated. Aiden activated his wrist terminal. Trace to Vanguard base. I found remnants of a data core. Prepare for encrypted transfer. Static crackled before a voice answered. Acknowledged. Ready on your signal. As he worked, the wind picked up, whispering through the hollow streets. The sound almost resembled voices, echoes of a colony that had died mid-sentence. Aiden forced his mind to stay sharp. This place was built on shared culture. Now it was a testament to how swiftly unity could be shattered. Commander. Mara's voice came through the calm. We found scorch patterns that don't match Keth weaponry. Aiden stood. Where? South corridor. Sending coordinates. He moved quickly across the plaza, boots kicking small clouds of ash. The south corridor lay between two collapsed residential blocks. Mara waited beside a series of narrow blast marks etched across a stone wall. Aiden leaned closer. Angles suggest high acceleration projectiles. The Keth don't use slugs, Mara said. No, he agreed. But someone wanted it to look like their work. Mara frowned. Framing? Possibly. Or a mixed strike team. Before he could examine further, an alert chimed in his earpiece. Commander Trace, this is orbit control. An incoming vessel just entered low orbit. Aiden stiffened. Identify. No transponder. Origin unknown. Mara tapped her rifle. Keth? Aiden scanned the sky. Unlikely. They usually announce their presence with overwhelming force. Moments later, a sleek silver ship descended through the cloud cover, triangular, polished, and bearing the spiral emblem of the Dawn Enclave, one of the oldest species in the galactic Concord. Its landing thrusters flared, sending dust and debris swirling in wide arcs. The ship settled at the far end of the corridor. Aiden approached cautiously as a tall, slender figure emerged from the ramp. The envoy's skin glowed faintly under the sun, shifting tones like light reflecting off water. Commander Trace, the envoy said. I am Litharus of the Dawn Council. We heard Earth dispatched you. We came to advise restraint. Aiden kept his posture neutral. You came uninvited. We hoped urgency would excuse protocol. Aiden's gaze hardened. You're walking through the ruins of a slaughtered colony. Speak plainly. Litharus folded their hands. The Concord fears escalation. If Earth retaliates, the Keth Dominion will respond violently. Their political landscape is volatile. This massacre may have been driven by internal strife, not unified policy. Aiden stepped closer. And while you debate causes, thousands are dead. Litharus bowed their head. We grieve with you. But vengeance will ignite war across dozens of systems. War has already begun, Aiden said quietly. It started the moment the first plasma strike hit this colony. Litharus glanced at the destroyed shelters. We do not wish to see your species extinguished. Aiden held his stare. Then help us. Tell us what you know. The envoy hesitated, then spoke softly. There are factions within the Dominion. One leader seeks to consolidate power through fear. If you retaliate now, you strengthen his cause. Aiden absorbed this silently. Name? I cannot, Litharus said, expression tightening. But we are monitoring him. Monitoring doesn't stop massacres. The envoy's calm wavered. Earth must not charge ahead blindly. Aiden stepped aside, gesturing to the broken landscape. This wasn't blind. This was deliberate. Someone wanted to erase these people. Litharus looked pained. Then allow the Concord to lead the investigation. No, Aiden said. Earth will lead its own. The envoy sighed. Your resolve will reshape the path ahead. I pray it doesn't lead to your destruction. Before Aiden responded, a piercing tone from the ruins cut through the air. Mara sprinted toward them. Commander! You need to see this. Aiden followed her to a half-buried control node. Mara pointed at the display. We cracked part of the Keth encryption. A line of translated text flashed on the screen. Operation Cinderfall, Phase 1 complete. Aiden's pulse sharpened. They're planning additional strikes. Mara's voice tightened. Across how many colonies? We'll find out, Aiden said. Lytherus read the text and went still. This confirms our worst fears. The strategist behind this is accelerating his plan. Aiden straightened. Then Earth must act faster. He motioned to his team. Pack the data. We return immediately. As the investigators gathered equipment, Aiden looked once more at the ruins of Helix 4. A colony built on trust, destroyed by a species that mistook civility for surrender. He spoke quietly to Lytherus. If the galaxy wants us to remain quiet, they've come too late. The envoy's expression darkened with concern. Humanity stands at a crossroads. Aiden turned toward the shuttle. We chose our direction the moment Helix 4 burned. He boarded without another word. The shuttle lifted, leaving behind a world of ash, and carrying the truth that the massacre was only the beginning. The hum of the Vanguard fleet echoed through the docking bay like the heartbeat of a living machine. Hundreds of ships stood poised, sleek, angular, and gleaming under Earth's artificial sun. Each vessel bore the emblem of a species united under one banner, humanity, finally refusing to be underestimated. Aiden Trace walked the length of the main bay aboard the Resolute Dawn, the flagship of Earth's new offensive. His boots clanked against the reinforced metal deck, a steady percussion that matched the tension thrumming in the crew around him. Hundreds of soldiers, engineers, and tacticians moved with purpose, aware that their mission was unprecedented, a full-scale strike into Keth-claimed space in retaliation for Helix 4. Lieutenant Marachin approached, holding a data pad. Commander, the fleet is ready. Weapons calibrated, shields reinforced. Crew morale is surprisingly high. Aiden scanned the bay, eyes narrowing. Surprisingly? Mara hesitated. Given the loss of Helix 4, I expected hesitation. Fear. Hesitation, yes. But not fear. They're determined. Focused. Humanity's unique, I suppose? Aiden allowed a ghost of a smile. Unique enough to survive. He turned toward the viewport. Beyond the bay, Earth's curvature stretched beneath the clouds, the blue and white world they had long tried to present as calm and civilized. It no longer mattered if the galaxy saw them as cultured or restrained. Humanity's patience had expired. Commander, came a voice over the comm. It was Chief Tactics Officer Ren O'Malley. Enemy fleet confirmed in approach vector 34 Alpha. Multiple Keth warships detected. They've matched our speed. Looks like they've anticipated a direct response. Aiden's jaw tightened. They think we'll be predictable. They're wrong. He strode toward the command console, his mind already calculating. Deploy ships in tri-layer formation. Let them think we'll rush. Hold Vanguard-class frigates at the flanks. Reserve our heavy cruisers for flanking maneuvers. Timing will be critical. Ren nodded. Understood, Commander. Aiden paused, hands hovering over the holographic star map. The Keth ships formed a dark cluster, moving with deadly precision. But he noticed something subtle, a slight discrepancy in their vector calculations. They expect retaliation, he murmured, but they don't anticipate ingenuity. Commander? Mara asked. Aiden pointed to the map. We'll use their arrogance against them. Prepare adaptive strategies, maneuvers they haven't modeled. Rotate the fleet's formation dynamically. Use decoy signals from auxiliary drones. Let the Keth believe they're controlling the engagement. Mara's brow lifted. Risky. Necessary, Aiden said. Humanity has survived by adapting faster than any opponent. The battle commenced with the first flash of Keth plasma. Streams of blue fire arced across the void, striking empty space where decoy drones had been deployed. The Keth paused, confused. Aiden's fleet seized the opening, pivoting through the stars with calculated chaos. Ships split and weaved, dodging fire with a fluidity the Keth had never modeled. The resolute Dawn cut through the battlefield like a blade, its turrets spewing precision strikes at gaps in enemy shields. Human ingenuity manifested in every maneuver, autonomous drones feinting attacks, frigates executing daring slingshot maneuvers, and frigate captains improvising tactics mid-engagement. "This is insane," Mara shouted over the calm. "They don't know what to do." "They never expect chaos," Aiden replied, voice calm. "And humans thrive in it." The Keth faltered. One warship collided with another in a miscalculated evasive move. Aiden's eyes tracked the event on multiple feeds, then immediately issued new commands. "Target the breached hulls. Focus fire on the command nodes. Move in pairs, never alone." Even as the victory momentum built, Aiden remained alert. Mara's scanners flagged an anomaly, a small Keth cruiser attempting to break formation, possibly heading for hyperspace. "Commander, a ship is trying to escape." Aiden didn't flinch. "Let it go for now. The rest of the fleet must maintain cohesion. We'll deal with stragglers later." Around him, human crews worked with unwavering focus. They were tired, grieving, and furious, but none of that weakened their precision. If anything, it sharpened their resolve. The Keth had assumed humanity would crumble after Helix 4. Instead, the humans fought like a single organism, unpredictable yet coordinated. The battle raged for hours. Light flared across the void with every exchange of fire. The Keth learned the hard way that precision alone could not overcome creativity and adaptability. Several ships attempted to retreat, only to find themselves blocked by agile human cruisers. Strategic points were secured, and orbital positions shifted in favor of Earth's forces. Finally, the last of the Keth formation was broken. A large cruiser, heavily armored and formidable, attempted a desperate counterattack. Aiden's tactical mind calculated the risk in milliseconds. "Divert all energy to forward weapons. Initiate sweep, target the cruiser's propulsion matrix." The cruiser exploded in a brilliant bloom of plasma and metal, fragments scattering into the void. Silence hung for a brief moment, save for the low hum of human engines. Mara exhaled, her relief audible. They actually did it." Aiden didn't smile. He scanned the battlefield. The human fleet had won, but at a cost: multiple frigates damaged, casualties aboard the Resolute Dawn, and dozens of lives lost in the brutal exchange. "Victory isn't celebration," he said softly. "It's survival. Remember that." Later, in the command center, Aiden reviewed the post-battle data. Mara and Lynn stood beside him, tired but alert. "Analysis indicates Keth morale is unstable," Mara reported. "Their commanders are questioning their orders. Some are attempting unauthorized retreats. This is our advantage." Aiden's gaze hardened. "Good. But advantage can vanish if we misstep. Prepare counterintelligence operations. Find the faction responsible for Helix 4. If we expose them, we fracture the Dominion from within." Ren nodded. "We'll start immediately." Aiden allowed himself a single moment of reflection. Helix 4's ruins had demanded this response. The galaxy had underestimated humanity's patience, and now they were about to learn what happened when patience ran out. He turned to the crew, voice firm. "Today, humanity reclaimed its place. Tomorrow, we ensure no one ever doubts it again." Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Commander, the fleet, they're ready for whatever comes next." Aiden nodded, staring at the starfield beyond the viewport. "Let them come. They'll find that humans don't just survive. We adapt, we endure, and we strike when the time is right." The Resolute Dawn cut through the void, leading the fleet toward the next unknown, carrying the fury of Helix 4 and the unshakable spirit of humanity. The Keth Dominion's command citadel loomed ahead, a jagged fortress orbiting the gas giant Valthera. Its dark spires scraped the void like claws, and the surrounding space shimmered with defensive fields, turrets, and mines. Aiden Trace surveyed it from the Resolute Dawn's bridge, his eyes cold, precise, and calculating. This was where the architect of Helix 4's massacre awaited, the man who had believed humanity's patience was weakness. The culmination of years of restraint and silence would be measured here, in minutes, by skill, courage, and resolve. "Scans indicate heavy Keth presence, Commander," Lieutenant Marichin said, her voice steady despite the tension. "We'll face overwhelming numbers if we attack head-on." Aiden's fingers hovered above the control interface. "We don't attack head-on." His gaze swept the fleet, stationed in tight formation behind him. "We infiltrate. Disable their defenses quietly. Hit the command node directly. Precision and speed, our advantage." Mara glanced at him, concern flickering in her eyes. "You're proposing a single strike team against a citadel defended by an entire Dominion fleet. And they won't see us coming," Aiden replied. "Humans excel where predictability fails. That's how we survived Helix 4, and that's how we'll end this." Aboard the lead shuttle, Aiden, Mara, and a small strike team hurtled toward the citadel, their hulls cloaked against Keth's sensors. Each breath inside the cabin was taut with anticipation. Outside, the Keth fleet bristled with energy, unaware of the human shadows slipping past. The shuttle docked with a silent precision. Aiden led the team through darkened corridors, moving like a single organism. Each step echoed against the metallic walls of the fortress, a reminder that this mission balanced on a knife edge. They reached the central command chamber, the nexus of the Dominion's strategy. Massive screens displayed troop movements, colonies under Keth control, and the aftermath of Helix 4. And there, at the command console, stood Varkos Iolthuin, the strategist, the predator, the murderer of tens of thousands. Varkos turned slowly, his golden eyes glinting with curiosity and disdain. "So, the humans finally arrive. I wondered how long your species would endure my little demonstration." Aiden stepped forward, voice calm but firm. "This isn't a demonstration. It's a reckoning." Varkos laughed, a dry, rattling sound. "You speak of morality, yet you bring fleets to kill. You wear restraint like a mask, and now you throw it aside. Tell me, Commander, does that make you strong or simply desperate?" Aiden's eyes narrowed. "It makes us human." Varkos' gaze flickered, briefly intrigued. "Humanity, always clinging to hope. Always believing kindness is strength. You've learned nothing. Violence will prove it." "Violence proves nothing if it's misdirected," Aiden replied. "We fight to survive, to protect, to remember those you tried to erase." The confrontation escalated as Varkos activated the Citadel's defense grid. Plasma turrets blazed to life, and energy shields flared across the chamber. Aiden signaled his team. Mara deployed an EMP device, disabling half the turrets. Ren and the boarding specialists neutralized the remaining guards. Varkos, wielding a plasma blade, advanced with deliberate precision. Each swing, each step, reflected centuries of Keth combat training. Aiden blocked the first strike with a reinforced exosuit gauntlet. Sparks flew as human ingenuity met Keth brutality. "You think discipline can overcome instinct?" Varkos hissed. "Discipline without instinct dies," Aiden countered, sidestepping a lethal swing. "Humans survive because we combine both." They clashed across the command floor, the room a storm of plasma, sparks, and shouted commands. Mara provided cover fire, disabling secondary defenses. Ren hacked into the main console, redirecting power from defensive shields to collapsed structural supports. Varkos stumbled, surprised by the adaptability of humans. Predictable they were not. Aiden pressed the advantage, driving him back toward the main console. "You may have survived Helix 4. Varkos snarled. "But the galaxy is mine!" "Not anymore," Aiden replied. With a precise strike, he disarmed Varkos, knocking the plasma blade aside. For a moment, the two stood locked in a silent battle of wills. Aiden's chest heaved, not from exertion but from the weight of countless lives lost, decisions made, and futures yet unwritten. "You were wrong about us," Aiden said quietly. "Our patience wasn't weakness. It was strategy. Our restraint wasn't cowardice. It was foresight. And our fury is tempered by memory, not malice. Varkos faltered. His expression hardened into disbelief. You survived everything we prepared. How? Because we are human, Aiden said. And we decide who we become. Not you. Not anyone else. With a final calculated push, Aiden incapacitated Varkos. The Citadel's defenses fell as the strike team secured the command nodes. Across the Dominion fleet, communication breakdowns and sabotage triggered widespread confusion. Rival factions within the Keth forces seized the moment to revolt against their tyrannical leader. In the aftermath, Aiden stood atop the command chamber's balcony, overlooking the fractured fleet. Mara and Ren flanked him, weary but alive. The Dominion's ships either retreated or surrendered. Helix 4's shadow no longer loomed over Earth. The galaxy now understood that humans were not merely cultured diplomats or passive observers. Lithra's voice came through comms, softer than before. Commander Trace, Earth has shown strength beyond what we imagined. The Keth Dominion fractures under your resolve. Aiden's gaze remained fixed on the void. Strength isn't enough. Humanity will never stop adapting, but we will never lose ourselves. The galaxy needs to remember that. Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. What now? Aiden exhaled, a mixture of relief and resolve in his eyes. Now we rebuild. We protect. We choose the future. Not as the victims of a massacre, but as humans, resilient, adaptable, and unbroken. Across the fleet, Earth's ships formed a formation that glimmered against the starlight. They were battered, yes, but alive. They were a warning, a testament, and a promise. And in that moment, humanity's voice rang across the void, clear and unwavering. We will endure. We will prevail. And no one, no empire, no tyrant, will ever underestimate us again. The resolute dawn led the fleet homeward, carrying with it not only victory, but the unmistakable spirit of a species that had refused to bow. Humanity had chosen its path. And from the ashes of Helix 4, a new era had begun.